Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of Point C Flicks. This is a brand new podcast that we are going to be bringing you once a week where we are going to sit down and talk about a movie. It may be a new movie, it may be an old movie. It all depends on what's coming out that week. This week, we are talking about the Minecraft movie. So just a quick little introduction about this podcast is that it is going to be once a week, like I mentioned. Don't know how long it's going to be, but this is going to be members-only content. If you're interested, you can click the join button next to the subscribe button here on Point C. It's basically just going to be a way for you guys to support us just a little bit. It is only going to be $3 a month, and this is a DLC sort of membership. This is not required to enjoy our content. This is all really what you're getting with the membership and a few other small things. You can read about that when you sign up for the membership. But without further ado, enjoy the first episode of the podcast for free today. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our very first Point C movie podcast. Just a little bit about this series before we get started. This is going to be our members only movie podcast where every single week we're going to sit down and talk about either a new movie that's coming out or talk about a film, like a historical film that we both really enjoy, or just whatever you guys want. But either way, for the first week, we decided we are going to give you guys the first episode for free just so you can see if it's something that you're into. And also, we are talking about the Minecraft movie. Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
So
A Minecraft movie.
A Minecraft movie. Sorry, yes. So a Minecraft movie. If you somehow haven't heard about it, it's had the biggest opening weekend of any video game movie. We both saw it. I saw it opening day. Noah saw it the day after, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But we saw it right.
Well, no, we saw it the same day. Just
that's right. I saw it. Yes, I
did.
apologize. We saw it opening day. And we both enjoyed it quite a bit. We enjoyed it at different levels, though. I guess we'll get into really quick initial thoughts, just if you want to hear our really quick ratings. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Noah gave it a 10 out of 10, which we'll hop in deeper into why we think that. But I just want to talk about some really quick, just non-spoiler stuff. We're going to get into just opinion stuff right off the bat. I think that it is a good kids movie, and look, if you're a fan of Minecraft, you're probably gonna have fun with this. Don't go in expecting a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Don't go in expecting something crazy. I don't even think it's as good as the Mario movie, but I do think that it is a decent take on what Minecraft is and Minecraft culture as a whole. And I think that if you're into that, you're probably gonna have fun with this movie. So that's really what I just want to say, non-spoiler wise. I think that Jack Black did a good job. I think Jason Momoa did a good job. I could not tell you the other three actors' names, but they also did a pretty good job. But we'll talk about that a little later. And I guess one really small thing to get into without spoilers is I think that the person, or I guess Henry as a character, I was a little concerned wasn't going to really fit. But I think Henry is the perfect addition, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section. But yeah, that's
Yes,
my really quick initial thoughts. Noah, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Well, okay, so I think basically everything that you said I agree with.
Yeah.
But I think that they did a really good job with like the director's overall style of how he makes movies.
Right.
Because I mean, if you don't know him, he made Nacho Libre, and then he made Napoleon Dynamite. That's like the big one, and then he made Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
Right. This is like kind of his first big movie.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's not like completely his style, but the beginning of the movie was very much his style.
For sure.
So like
I agree.
You have a lot of his ironic dialogue, like a lot of his, like, some might call it dumb dialogue, but I call it more like just you kind of have to be paying attention to what they're saying to really get the humor.
Yeah.
So I think the movie was hilarious. And I think it really is very faithful to Minecraft. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of things that only true Minecraft players will understand.
Yeah.
So, and I think anybody could enjoy it. I think that's kind of my favorite part about it. I think anybody could enjoy it. I mean, my dad was like, I kind of want to see that movie, even though he doesn't play Minecraft.
Right.
So, that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with most of that. I do agree that definitely the beginning of that movie did feel like his style a lot. Which I guess we can talk about that a little bit. Is it basic, which because the trailers kind of already do that, is basically Steve's dad in this film is basically an old coal miner and basically doesn't want Steve to go into the mine because it's for adults only. And when Steve becomes an adult, he hates his job and he decides, fuck it. I have an affinity for square things. I'm going down into the mine. And he does that, and he ends up finding a world known as the Overworld, or the Minecraft world.
That.
I mean, that's pretty accurate.
No, it's nothing you're saying. It's just I want to. I don't know if we can talk about like exactly like do you think we can get into a little minor spoilers?
Yeah, we can get into a few minor things, I think, for sure. And I guess I should
just
preface this is that it's not a deep story. So, like, really, if you're scared, which, I mean, we won't spoil some of the big, like, funny moments, but we'll save that for the spoiler section. But don't expect going into this to be a big plot. I promise you it's nothing special. But anyway, continue. I apologize.
Yeah. I just love how he was at work and he just
yeah, that was funny.
Made the mine
yes, that was kind of funny. Food. Yeah,
and he was like, and then I remembered the mine.
Yeah, so then Steve goes into the mines and he finds the overworld and he loves it. He loves it so much. But we quickly find out that he goes to the Nether, and that's where the bad person. I don't remember her name. What was her? Do you remember her name?
Malgosha.
Malgosha lives there, and Malgosha, which I actually kind of like this piece of lore. I don't know if it's accurate to Minecraft, but apparently Malgosha basically mined the Nether so dry that it became the Nether, which I found really interesting. But anyway, so the point is that
what?
Yeah, they destroyed the Nether. The Nether used to be like the overworld, but they destroyed it of all of its resources.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's kind of how in game works.
Yeah, which I kind of like. That was kind of cool. But anyway, so basically, so now Steve is trapped in the Nether, and he sends his best buddy Dennis back to Earth to hide the key to the overworld, and that's where that's where our main characters come in. And I guess we can talk about the characters a bit without getting into spoilers. I think I'm going to say it right now. I really like Jason Momoa, Steve, and Henry. All three characters I felt were really, really good. I felt like they all served a really good role. Basically Jason Momoa's character is essentially the old school gamer that's all washed up, and which was kind of cool.
Yeah, he kind of represents, your uncle that still plays Minecraft.
Yeah. Yep. And then we have Henry, who's obviously the new gen, Tommy Innit fans, Dream SMP fans, Technoblade fans, if you will. But no, and then Steve is obviously old school Minecraft fans. But, I kind of really liked their dynamics, which we'll get into the more spoiler section. But I actually really felt like their three characters worked really, really well throughout the film. And then, of course, we have Henry's sister, Nat, and then we also have the landlord, which I don't... Dawn, yes, which...
I think she was a real estate agent.
Yes, she is. I thought that they were renting.
Oh, maybe I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Same difference. But I assumed landlord because there was like sort of like there was like sort of almost like a relationship there, but maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
One little stupid bit of writing that I will give you, but I don't really care, is when Natalie was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know who else to call.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did you call your landlord to come help you with this?
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, that's fine. I don't really care, but I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, and look, I didn't really... I thought Natalie and Dawn were fine characters, but they didn't really add a ton to the plot. I liked Natalie more than I liked Dawn, but Dawn was just kind of there. It's not even that she's a bad actress or that she did a bad job. She didn't. It's just, I don't know if they knew what they wanted to do with her character, personally. But besides that, I really like the cast.
I think it was to pad the cast a bit.
I think part of it was because clearly they wanted Natalie to go on sort of her own adventure, like when they get separated. And I think that they had this fear of having Natalie on her own, I think was sort of the thing. But I don't, but either way, we kind of talked about this personally. Personally, you could take out both characters and you wouldn't miss much. But it's fine that they're there. It doesn't take away from the film in my eyes. But Dawn, I just felt like was kind of wasted, is my opinion. But anyway, so that's kind of the initial plot. So so we got our main cast. And do we want to get into some spoiler stuff now? Or you got anything else you want to share?
That's fine with me. I mean, I'm kind of ready to let
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah. All right. So
let the horses go.
yeah. So we're gonna hop into some spoiler stuff. Really, not once again, not a deep plot. So honestly, you could watch this and still enjoy the movie. But anyway, so basically, so Natalie and Henry have lost their mom, and basically they're moving to where their mom grew up, and she wants them to experience a normal upbringing. And so they're here. Henry's the weird kid in school that's into rockets, and basically, he gets himself in a little bit of trouble, and ends up shooting or it was meant to be a jetpack, which okay, look, it doesn't ruin it or anything like that, but it was such a 0 to 100 thing to build. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna build a fucking jetpack.
That's perfect. That's like fits the whole style of the director. Like that's kind of what he does.
Yeah, that's fine. I get, like once again, it doesn't ruin the film, but it was just 0 to 100. But anyway, that's fine. But basically, so then he asks his buddy Jason Momoa for some help, and yeah, so that's really where that's where we'll drop you in. But Noah, I want you to shoot
his buddy,
not buddies, but
Yeah. So Garrett or Gargar.
Yeah.
He owns a retro gaming shop.
Yeah.
And so remember how Steve sent Dennis into the real world to go hide the cube, or was the orb of dominance, right?
How could I forget?
And he sent Dennis to hide it under his bed or somewhere in his house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was an auction, right? What was the auction even for? It was because
storage units.
Somebody didn't live there. Oh, it was storage units. Okay.
And they so they kind of explained it in the end credits, but basically when they bought that house, Steve's old house, obviously there was a bunch of shit left in it, and they just sold it off.
Got it. Okay. So then they have an auction, and Garrett basically buys what he thought was an old Atari system.
Yes.
Actually had the orb in it, so he has it. Remember the note?
Yeah, the note was funny. Yeah, okay, look, I know that we haven't gotten into my complaints in the film because it really won't come in until a little later. But the thing is that this intro, I actually like the intro a lot.
Yeah.
And the note was really funny, where it's like, do not put these together under any other.
Even if you're a small business,
yeah, a broke small business owner that is desperate for cash. Which that was funny. That was funny. So basically, Henry comes back into the shop after he gets in trouble, and basically he sees this and he puts it together, and it brings them to the mines where the overworld is. And next thing you know, they're in the overworld, and they all four get teleported at the same time, and now we are in the world of Minecraft for real, which is where we're going to spend the rest of the film. But I want to talk about this first bit of sort of them going into the overworld, because it might be part of my favorite part of the film, where they don't really know much about the world, but Henry is able to just figure it out all at once. And I actually really like this part because it does kind of represent your first time playing Minecraft, sort of figuring out the mechanics without knowing much about it. And I think that works really, really well. Henry figures out quickly that, I can break blocks here, and I am able to quickly build things. Like, that was cool. I like that.
And the director wanted to make it feel like,
right.
He wanted to make the first bit like kind of feel like your first night in Minecraft,
yes.
Like not really knowing what you're doing, and then building a house out of like whatever you can find.
Yes, and it to me works really well, and I think I will give it my real first compliment is that I actually really enjoyed the design of the blocks and the prop design, like when it's floating in air and stuff like that. Like it really did feel like I was in Minecraft, and I felt like that worked really, really well. I think that it adds a good touch into really, what is Minecraft? What is Minecraft like on your first night? So, that's the compliment I will give it. And there was a tiny little detail that I really liked, where when Henry is building their first little like base that they hide in, he misses a corner. Like he doesn't make it like when you get to the end and
Completely perfect.
yeah, it's not perfect. And I really like that little attention to detail. I felt like that was a really good attention to detail. Now, so that's really what I wanted to say about it. And then Jack Black saves the day, of course. And he gives this famous
And
line.
that scene is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty good. And so now our team knows their mission. They gotta go to they got their first task. They gotta go to the Woodland Mansion, and then they gotta go to the Nether.
Because Garrett
Yes.
broke the crystal, right?
Yes, Garrett dropped it.
And this is also kind of weird because I have a question for the writers.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they put too much thought into it, but like,
Yeah.
Like why did the pillagers? Why did the Illagers have a crystal?
That's a good question. I had just assumed it's because of the loot room, so they have everything.
True, but like this is something that you only find in the real world, right? Or the Nether or something.
I don't know how they explain that. Well, I don't know.
I just want to know how these things even got to these places.
Well,
Or it
that's a
probably
good
doesn't
question.
matter.
Yeah. But that is a good question. I don't. Yeah.
Maybe it's a thing for the sequel to explore.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. But yeah. So then they got to go. But then they end up going to a village in the process, and which is kind of, I really kind of like the design of the villagers, the Iron Golem, and it's a pretty good looking place. And after they go there, then they are on their way to the mines because Jason Momoa needs cash and he's gonna steal. Well, he's not gonna steal diamonds, but Steve is gonna give him
basically
some
blackmails
diamonds.
Steve.
Yes, he blackmails Steve into some diamonds, which is another really good thing I actually really liked.
Or bribes Steve.
Yes, he bribes Steve. Was the whole thing with that whole cave was that it was dangerous, and with the creepers and with the redstone, like that all was really really cool, and I like that. And there was also I didn't mention it beforehand, but there was also a really really cool moment with the Elytras, which I really liked, but it means that we're probably not going to fight the Ender Dragon in the next movie, which I kind of wanted, but
He did say, the director actually did say why he didn't do the Ender Dragon.
Why is that?
And he was like, he said he wanted to save it for another one in case.
Oh, okay.
Because he was like, well, if we fought the Ender Dragon immediately, it's kind of like if we went to the Piglins in the second one,
yeah,
it would be kind of weird because they're kind of not as big of a threat. So
yeah, that's fair.
He's like, he also was like, I feel like the Piglins weren't as explored as something like the Ender Dragon was anyway.
Yeah, that's a fair opinion.
I think it was good. I think it was a good choice.
Yeah, I have no issue with fighting the pillagers. I just find it more interesting of how are we going to explain why Steve has an Elytra or multiple Elytras. But
true, and also he does in his original song that he wrote for the film.
Mm-hmm.
He mentions that the Ender Dragon is a hell of a foe. So it's
okay. Well,
maybe he did fight the Ender Dragon already.
Yeah, well, he would have
had
to.
If he did, he would have probably talked about it. So maybe.
But there's no other way
in the game, and I don't even know if you know about this yet, but in the game, I actually found this out recently. You actually repair Elytras with phantom membranes.
I did know this. Yes.
You did know that. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe they're gonna add another thing. Maybe they're gonna make it so you can craft them out of phantom membranes.
Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, no, that's just a small thing. But I think that they just want to show off Elytras because it is a cool thing. But either way, they could also just be like, they could just be like, oh, we need to go back to the end for some reason. We need to summon the dragon again. Whatever. It doesn't, because you can do that. So whatever. It doesn't matter. Or maybe they need to defeat the Ender Dragon for real this time.
He didn't actually die the first time I did it.
True. But anyways, yeah, so then they make their way to the Woodland Mansion. They steal an Ender Pearl. They also find the fucking key to get back to the Earth. And then we get ready for a big final fight. And, they kill the bad guy, save the day. the overworld is saved, and then everybody goes back to Earth, including Steve. And then they live happily ever after. And
Which
Steve
they have to
meets Alex.
they have to convince him.
Yes, they do have to convince him. But eventually he's like, you know what? I'm coming with you guys. And he, and then they run a retro video game store all together. Nat opens up a martial arts fucking defense place. And then what did Dawn do? Did she make a fucking petting zoo? Is that what it was?
I forgot what she did.
She did
I
something
know that
with the
she
llamas.
becomes the owner of Dennis. After
Yes, she does
Steve.
become the owner of Dennis. And then the guys, the bros, they make their own video game. So, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And did they or did they not become gay lovers though?
maybe. You never know what happens between Jason Momoa and fucking, well, who's the twink in that relationship? They're both the bears though. Can two bears do two bears get along?
Did two bears get along?
I found out next episode of Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, no, I felt like the plot, it's pretty basic, but it's fine for what it is. Like, it feels like Minecraft. It's fine. I have no issues with the plot for the most part. Did I find it odd somehow that Jason Momoa was able to steal the fucking thing from Henry? Sure, but whatever. It was just a reason for Steve to actually have
Steal
to go
what?
to the fucking the Earth Key or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Which, whatever. It's fine. I get it. They needed a reason to go to the diamond mine. That's fine. It didn't really bug me. But once again, the plot is nothing special. It's nothing deep. It's a kid's movie. So I had no issue with the plot itself. So
It's Minecraft in a movie form.
Yeah. So,
That's literally what it is.
Yep.
It's beyond that, it's really nothing.
yeah, exactly. But there is a side plot we have not mentioned.
There is a neat little message though that the movie has. So, what's the side plot? Oh yeah, the villager side plot, right?
Yeah, so a villager somehow made his way out of the overworld and found his way into the street and was hit by Jennifer Coolidge's car, and they fall in love. And look, I found her character pretty funny because from the start she's immediately like, "Oh, I was divorced and I hate it," and it has my favorite line in the movie. She's speaking with Jason Momoa and hitting on Jason Momoa, and Jason Momoa looks at her and goes, "Whoever divorced you is an idiot." And so basically Jennifer Coolidge and a villager fall in love, a nitwit to be specific,
Of course, it's the jobless one.
which is so funny.
I saw people making that joke, and I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. Of course, it's the one without a job.
True. But yeah, no, I felt like I thought the subplot was fun. We basically saw it all in the trailers anyways, but it was fine. I had no complaints about it. And it was funny too, because I forgot that it was going on, and then it would just randomly cut back to them at the same dinner scene. I was like, oh fuck, I forgot this was happening.
You already know that was probably going to be all deleted.
Yeah, oh yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Because I think if you add up all the screen time, it does make like, I don't know,
3 minutes?
5 minutes?
Yeah, probably 3 or 5 minutes.
And the movie's like, what, an hour and 41 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could have easily cut that off and it could have been an hour and 30 minute movie.
But it was,
but they left it in, and I'm so glad they left it in because it's funny as hell.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, so I guess we can start getting into some of the specifics, some of the performances and things like that. So Jack Black as Steve obviously created some memes. And the memes are in full force in this film. I'll tell you that.
You're not gonna see them.
Throughout the.
They're not gonna be sped up and slowed down and ranked though.
No. True. And also, for the most part, there really isn't much more beyond like what you already saw in the trailers. There's a couple more moments, like the slime block quote.
Slime cube.
Yeah, slime cube, and then
the lava chicken.
And lava chicken, but that's really it. For the most part, what you saw in the trailers is what you get, and there's nothing wrong with that. For the most part, I enjoyed The dialogue. I mean, there's a few criticisms that I have, which we're going to get into here in a little bit. But overall, I think that Steve's dialogue is fine. I really like Jason Momoa's dialogue. I found him funny throughout most of the film. I really, really, really like Henry though. I really felt like I talked about this a bit, like while as the movie was coming out, that I was concerned about Henry and all the other characters. But there's no reason to be. Henry is perfect, like genuinely perfect. I really enjoyed his character a lot, and they really did something cool in this film, which is where they have custom crafting recipes, and Henry makes a tater tot launcher. And the whole point is that like throughout this film, they're kind of like Steve's like you can literally make anything you can imagine, and I felt like it was kind of an interesting idea of being like, oh, we literally have custom recipes here.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If you were able to go to the actual Minecraft world
Yep.
and you brought in your actual items from the real world, you
Yeah.
probably could make something.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And I felt like it was a cool idea. And Jason Momoa made something interesting. So like, yeah, I had no interest. I had no issue with what they created in that film. And I felt like it.
Buck Chuckets.
Yeah. But I think that it made a relatively interesting story device to be able to create something different and unique. So that's my opinion. We got to see a lot of iconic items. We already mentioned the elytra. We mentioned buckets. We mentioned pandas. Like you get a lot of that stuff here. Villagers, pillagers. Like you get a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, they even showcased the way animals breed.
Yes, they did. And then
Just love hearts, and then a random baby just pops
exactly.
out of nowhere.
Which is pretty accurate, isn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah, no. So that's and then there's also a few small things that they did throughout the film. Like, for example, there's a part where Natalie breaks part of the dock and tries to make a boat and just throws it out in the lake. And it just is a block. And like that was kind of funny. I like that. Like there was moments like that in this film that I felt worked pretty well. And kind of made fun of what Minecraft is a bit and kind of represented what Minecraft is. And I felt like worked pretty well in my opinion. So, I want you to get your opinions out though too before I start complaining a bit.
I also really like that they were able to do the I do like this, but then I was like, well, that's not even in the actual game. The boots of swiftness on the Iron Golem.
Yes, which I was going to talk about. Yeah, I felt that was kind of weird too. I didn't hate it, but yeah, no, like when I watched him do it, I was like, whoa. We can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, I mean, it would be different, right, if he took something from the real world, right? But
yes,
he didn't.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool because the Boots of Swiftness are in a different Minecraft game. They're in Minecraft Dungeons.
Yeah.
But I don't think it really makes too much sense. I mean, again, it doesn't really matter, right? But it doesn't really make too much sense if you put the boots on top of the Iron Golem.
Yeah.
Because the pumpkin is what makes the face.
Well, so...
Right?
Right. So my thing is, are you able to do that in Legends or Dungeons or anything like that? Is that maybe what they pulled
No,
from?
you can't do that.
Okay.
No,
so it is
you
just
just have
something...
Boots of Swiftness in Dungeons.
Right, okay.
Whenever you use them, you just go fast. That's it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Like we said, if you brought something from the real world, I think I would not have an issue. But it's like we can't do that in game. Like you already took an item that most people don't know exists, and then threw it onto something that you can't put that on. But once again, it doesn't ruin the movie for me personally either. Maybe it's something Mojang wants to add though. That's a possibility.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe. But yeah, no. So that
there's already a free mod out to get the lava chicken in the game.
Oh my god. And I guess with that, I want to get into some of my complaints. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I didn't really find a lot of I've kind of talked about it on the podcast already, but there was a few dialogue moments that I was not a big fan of. In particular, I was not a big fan of like the water bucket clutch. I didn't really like that in the trailer. Didn't really like it in the movie either. Now, Noah really liked it, and that's perfectly fine if anybody else likes it. I'm telling you from my perspective, I see it as lazy writing, and I don't mean that in the case of this movie. I mean that in all movies. It's a trend that I don't like. when we need to explain what we're doing on screen in dialogue. Because if you look at movies historically, some of the films that are some of the best of all time have used very little dialogue to describe what's going on. They've rather had you watch the film and understand with your eyes and your other senses what's going on. Now, look, if you like that dialogue, perfectly fine. If you found that funny, also perfectly fine. I get that. I love that for you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Now, there's a few other moments in that film where it happens like that. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Now, some people are angry about things like, for example, when Jack Black explains what an ender pearl is. I'm not in that camp. And the reason why I'm not is because I mentioned it earlier, but early on in the film, Henry figures out that you can break blocks and place them anywhere and however you want. He figures that out on his own. Now, if you were able, now let's say you kill an Enderman and you pick up an Ender Pearl in Minecraft. You wouldn't know what the fuck that is. Like, you would not. Like, it doesn't describe what it is, right? Now, you could maybe gather that, oh, well, it dropped from an Enderman. If I throw it, I can teleport like an Enderman. You probably wouldn't think that, though, because you don't know if you can eat it. You don't know if you throw it. You don't know. Like, you just don't. So, obviously, Jack Black had to explain it, and there needed to be a reason for them to accidentally,
Can I also say this one thing?
Yeah, go for it.
When he's like, don't worry, I'm going to cushion our fall with this water bucket.
Uh-huh.
They're thinking they're going to fall to their death already, right?
Okay.
You know? Because, I mean, you know, normally you wouldn't be able to cushion your fall with a water bucket.
But once again...
you know?
So
I think it's just him trying to... And I can't believe I'm trying to have him explain this, right? But he's just trying to put them at ease and be like, look, you don't have anything to worry about. I'm going to save us right now. It's fine.
But
like,
it doesn't calm them down in the moment.
You know? Yeah, it did. Because right after that, they hit the water and they're fine.
Right, but also, you know what also would do that? If they just hit the water like they were already going to.
Yeah, but man, I don't know, man. I just can't like fathom having a problem with that. Like
after he explained, because it's just lazy writing in Hollywood. That's my issue. Is it's not an issue with this movie specifically. I would say the same thing if it's any other movie. The issue is that it raises a bigger concern about this as being a trend in Hollywood films where we are going to go, oh yeah, we're going to explain every little thing that's on screen. And in this case, it's a little different because you could make a case that it's trying to be ironic. This case, it clearly isn't, but there's other cases where it is being ironic, and that's fine, right? But here, they're not doing it because.
But then you just said the Ender Pearl thing, right?
But the Ender Pearl thing is different.
That's a game thing. The water bucket thing is also a game thing.
But here's the thing. Here's the difference, right?
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it does though, because here's the difference. You are in the moment where no matter what happens here, they are still going to survive with the water bucket, right? Jason Momoa specifically asks, "Hey, what's this?" So here's the difference, right? So I ask you what's an Ender
Pearl. So if they
Pearl.
asked what a water bucket did, you'd be fine with it.
If they would have asked earlier on, well, and they kind of already did. He already kind of mentioned, oh, they're useful in this world. Then if you would have done it, it would have been fine. The issue is that if you literally, it's 2 seconds beforehand, he goes, hey, so, and also he didn't explain what an Ender Pearl does. Jason Momoa throws it, and then he goes, oh, well, now you know.
Well, no, he said teleports you wherever you throw it, and then he throws it.
Right. Which is fine because they're explaining it, right? Because they have no idea what it is. My issue is where you explain it, for example, as he's falling, and he goes, hey, guess what? I'm going to save us some water. Well, he doesn't say that, but he says, I'm going to use this, I'm going to cushion our fall with this water bucket.
I feel like the delivery just is different. Like, I know what you're talking about, and I've seen it in other movies, and they handle it horribly in other movies. But I feel like the delivery and everything just saves it for me. I don't know. I'm just not with you on that at all.
I just think that you can show it without having to say it is the thing, right? Because because the argument for me is partially because it's not like, oh, he says it and then they all calm down. They're still freaking out. Like as they're still falling, they're still freaking out. So you can't be like, oh, well, that calmed them down.
Don't worry, they're gonna cushion our fall with this water bucket.
Yeah, they were still screaming as they were falling. It's not great, but you know, once again, that's fine if you want to think that. But I just think that you like literally if they had that scene where imagine I would kind of like it more if we just watched the pandas the whole time as they're falling down and then they save themselves with the water at the last second. I would prefer that more because guess what? It gives a little nod to something that they can do in Minecraft.
I just think it's in character. It makes sense for something like Jack Black to say, and
just because
he delivers it well. And
he doesn't though.
I feel like yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Why is everybody making memes out of it then? Why does
Because
everybody
they
think it's
think-
funny? Why does everybody think it's cool? That's why. I mean,
no, you're not really. But the thing is, no, you're not realizing the tone. They're not making jokes about it because they think it's funny. They're making jokes because they think it's cringe.
no, they don't. If people thought it was like that cringe, why would they listen to it on repeat?
Because that's what modern humor is for Gen Z and Gen Alpha, Noah. That's what they find funny is cringy shit that makes them cringe.
There's like, I feel like there's a difference between super cringy and then there's just like minor little.
I don't like minor
Little
cringe.
things.
Like, that's not funny to me, is the thing, though. I don't find minor cringe funny, and I don't find that delivery funny. I would, and I want to make this clear. I think.
I don't know. I'm a huge Jack Black fan, so maybe I just like it. I don't know.
Once again,
Maybe
that's
I'm
fair.
alone.
That's fair. I just did not find that delivery that funny. But once again, if people find that funny, I'm glad that people find it funny. It's just not for me. So but and then I found the musical numbers to be just out of place, except for the one in the Woodland Mansion. I found funny. That one was fine. But the chicken one just the chicken one just happens. And same with the dentist one, where the dentist one clearly was written after they shot the film. That was clearly put in after that was clearly an afterthought. And why?
Who knows?
I like what I feel. This is why I only say that, because it feels like, oh, dude, you know what was super popular? The Peaches song from the Mario movie. We need to do that in our movie too. That's how it felt to me. Now, I liked the one in the Woodland Mansion. That was a funny distraction and a great way for Henry to get to the top of the fucking Woodland Mansion. That was fine. But, And then, okay, and then there's one other example, and then we'll move on, that a lot of people memed on the chicken jockey, which I didn't really mind. And why did he say it, right? We talked about this in the podcast. Why did he say it? It doesn't ruin it, but it's like, why did
They want me to
say
fight
that?
the chicken?
Yeah. Chicken jockey. It's so ridiculous, but whatever, it's fine. I didn't hate that one as much as the water bucket clutch, but whatever, it's fine.
I feel like you should hate that one more than the water bucket. I don't know.
I don't like either of them. I'll make that clear. But I found the water bucket one to be more egregious, because why act as if, like, it's not like he's telling them a plan before he's going to do it. He's telling them a plan as he does it, is my thing. But I don't want to digress on
That happens all the time.
Yeah, and I hate it in every other movie.
I mean, in real life, that happens too. It's like, all right, I'm gonna have to do a U-turn real quick. Like that happened to me the other day. I'm not saying it as I was doing it. That's just how people talk sometimes.
Yeah, but that's not the context here, though. It's not you making conversation in a car. It's Jack Black.
Well, it's not even me. It's just me talking to myself.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Just-
but that's not what he's doing
mean,
here.
I don't know. I just feel like it's a little too much to have a problem with it like that.
It raises a bigger issue in movies in general for me, not just this movie. It's a larger picture issue for me, is the thing, and I've hated it for years, and it's getting worse in films. And I feel like this is an example where it's really bad. But to each their own. I didn't like the chicken jockey that much either. But yeah, no. But I guess we should mention this film is doing really well. It's already the best grossing video game movie of all time. And
Well, not
no,
necessarily
not sorry.
yet.
Yeah,
but
no. It
best
had the best
opener.
opening weekend. Yes, it'll probably beat out the Mario movie. Let's be real at this pace. It's still going strong, so it wouldn't surprise me. I wanted more movies like the Mario movie, but if we get more movies like Minecraft movie, then I guess so be it. But
And I'm gonna be the happiest guy.
Noah's gonna be so happy.
So happy.
Yes, sir. You have anything else to add about the film?
I feel like there's more we could argue about.
What else could we argue about? No,
I'm kidding.
this probably is.
Damn, there was more that I was going to talk about. You want to talk about the post-credit scene? And what we think the next one would be about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any theories as to what it's going to be about. Probably more of the same, except instead of
Can we talk about this side bit for a second, though? I just thought of.
Yep.
What is Minecraft's community's obsession with wanting to put Steve and Alex together in a relationship? Why? Why?
Well, I think it's because I don't know. Well, I think it's probably because a lot of people that play Minecraft are more casual gamers, and a lot of time they might be playing it with their partner. Sort of my idea, maybe. I don't know.
It's possible.
My theory, and I think it's probably because they're like, there's really only two characters, Steve and Alex, and it's like, oh, you have a boy and a girl character. That means they have to be together. That's my theory, but whatever. But yeah, no, I don't think they have to be together. I think in this universe, in this movie universe, they probably will.
Do you think Alex has been to the Minecraft world?
That's a good question. I am assuming probably not. But maybe she'll be a natural at it.
Like Steve.
Yeah, Steve's a natural at it. So maybe she'll be like, which would make sense because Alex is just the female version of Steve. So that would make sense that Alex is just naturally picks up Minecraft right away.
Who do you think they're going to cast as Alex?
That's a good question. I don't know. Who do you think they're going to cast?
Someone said Melissa McCarthy.
You know what's so funny? I was just thinking of Melissa McCarthy.
But that was before we saw it,
yeah,
because obviously, we already saw Alex from behind, right? But we don't see who it is because they obviously haven't cast her yet.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not going to do Melissa McCarthy because not the same body type, right?
That'd be so funny though.
I don't know. I really am not a fan of Melissa McCarthy.
Well, no, that's clearly what they would like to do with who they already casted in these films. But anyway, continue.
Well, they're not going to cast her because we already know what Alex generally looks like. So they could do a funny thing and do Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh, God.
Right?
Maybe.
I mean, it'd be funny, right? Because she played Princess Peach.
That's true. She did play Peach. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who they're going to cast.
I really couldn't tell you either. I have no idea because whenever people say, "Ooh, who would you cast for this?" my mind just goes blank. It's like when people ask me, "Where would you go to eat right now?" It's like dude, my mind just goes blank. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of actors I could say and a lot of places I could say, but
Amy Schumer is Alex.
So many. Ah.
Oh man.
There's just so many things I could say, but I'm just not thinking of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, my thing is that I'm thinking, right? And I would think they would want somebody that sort of works off of Jack Black. So that's why I think a lot of people said Melissa McCarthy. Now, I don't know if they'll do Melissa McCarthy. I don't like that casting because I also don't like Melissa McCarthy. So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
I don't really mind Melissa McCarthy, but if she was to play Alex, I'd be a little bit
I just don't find her funny. Her humor is basically
Jack Black as Steve. At first, when I heard that, I was like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
But then when I saw him, I was like, okay, no, this is great.
I just don't like Melissa McCarthy because her humor is basically just, ha, the fat girl fell, ha, ha, ha. It's basically Melissa McCarthy movies in a nutshell, and I don't think that would translate.
Because she's fat?
Get it? Because she's fat? Yeah, it's the joke in a nutshell. But yeah, no. So I overall kind of enjoyed the film. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Noah gave it a 10 out of 10. I think you should go watch it. It's an enjoyable time.
Pre-order the Steelbook too,
which is crazy. How much? Okay, well, here's the thing. How much did the Steelbook cost you?
$38.
Oh man, that's a lot. But whatever. If you really enjoyed the movie, glad that you got the Steelbook. But yes, I think I'm wrapped up. Do you have anything else to add?
Not really. Hope that they expand on that Herobrine reference.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh, maybe Herobrine's going to be the villain in the next movie.
No, I hope not. That'd be so stupid. Honestly, anybody who wanted Herobrine as the villain, you are what's wrong with the Minecraft community.
Dude, that would be so. Dude, you mean you don't want two Jack Blacks on screen?
Well, when you put it that okay. You know what I would do?
God damn it!
You know what I would do if they were to do Herobrine? I wouldn't make him a villain.
Okay.
I would make him more of a neutral character. I wouldn't make him a villain because if you just make him the villain, it'd be kind of like Like I would make him like good and bad, more like a trickster type character,
Interesting.
kind of like Shadow Mario. You know what I mean? Like kind of like that. Because unless they do like a Captain Sparkle's Fallen Kingdom type route with the character, where he's more of a, like a dark sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
But then I mean I like that, but that's not really what Herobrine is.
Right.
So
who knows? That'll be discussed for a different time. Anyways, I want to say thank you guys for watching the first episode of the Point C Movie Pod. This doesn't have a name yet, but that's a mouthful. I don't know what we're going to call this fucking thing yet. But anyways, thank you guys. This is, once again, the first episode. We just want to make it free for you guys just to see if it's something you guys want to pay for. But yeah, thank you guys. Go check out the Minecraft movie. It's pretty good. And we will see you guys next week.
How does Point C Flicks roll off the top?
Ooh, that works pretty good. Point C Flicks. I like that. What is our next movie going to be, Noah?
Our next movie?
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a movie that I'm going to go see that comes out next week called Sinners.
Sinners? I haven't even heard of those.
I think it'd be a good contrast to what we're talking about now.
Let me look at this movie, see if it's worth talking about. But anyways, I kind of want. Hold on. I want to announce our next film. Hold on. Sinners.
What genre of movie even is this?
It's like a horror
What is it?
horror movie.
Oh, okay.
Horror. It says horror adventure. Wait.
It says adventure on here, yeah.
Well, it says adventure on Google, but I don't think so. Like I looked at the trailer, like this is an adventure movie. This is a horror movie.
Well, we don't know quite what we're talking about yet. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out the first episode of Point C Flicks. We will catch you next time with the next film, which maybe I'll post here right now what we're watching. I don't know yet. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. We hope that you stick around to be a YouTube member. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.